Hello, everyone, and welcome to Kindy Rockstars. This is the show that gives you the stories behind the songs from some of the best bands and singers that are making fun, informative, educational, catchy, and occasionally silly songs for children and families. I'm your host, Patrick Adams, and each episode of Kindy Rockstars will feature an artist and a featured song. So let's get to this week's show. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Kindy Rockstars. We have an album feature tonight with our returning guest, Mark Pagano, better known as Marko Polo. Welcome back to the show.
Hey, thanks so much for having me back.
You got it. All right, we're going to feature some songs from your album, Mammal Music. But before we do that, what have you been up to since the last time we talked?
Oh, geez, I think we got together, or I think it was early summer. So, the summer was full of sunshine and watermelon and swimming and just having a really good time with my kids. And also back to performing live shows. So that was a lot of fun. Did a lot of library shows this summer, touring around a little bit, which was great after a couple years off of that. So, and now we're into the school year, and I'm kind of took a couple little teaching jobs, so I'm getting back into some classroom teaching with little ones and older ones and middle ones. I've got a full roster of stuff. I do early childhood music, and I also do songwriting with elementary kids, and then I'm doing a rock band program with high school kids. So
Love it.
it's it's fun and busy. So it's
Got
good.
all the bases covered. Maybe you'll have some of your kids starting off in the early programs, go through all of them eventually.
Yeah, right. Get them hooked for life.
Exactly. All right. Well, we had you on last season and you featured a couple songs from this album. But go ahead and talk about your album, Mammal Music, and kind of what was the inspiration for that, and any fun stories behind the making of it.
Yeah, so Mammal Music, I was really fortunate to get a grant from the Regional Arts Commission here in St. Louis. And the plan originally was to drive out to the East Coast to see some family and duck away to work with Dean Jones, who's a Kindy producer out there in upstate New York. Of course, the pandemic happened, and we decided to do the whole album remotely. And actually, originally, I think it was only going to be like 3 or 4 songs, but I was at home with my kids and just writing songs and just bouncing ideas back and forth between my home studio and his studio out there. And we ended up doing a full-length album, and it was really a lot of fun. The process was interesting. I don't think either of us had worked that much in that kind of capacity, but it was kind of nice because the songs were still being written, and we could kind of let the project breathe a little bit and take it slow, as opposed to like getting the whole collection of songs and knocking it out in a weekend or whatever. So it was different, and I really enjoyed it. So and then I was able to release the album this spring, which was good timing with the return of live shows and stuff. And so I've just been catching up. I just finished my last run of shows that were scheduled for 2020 a couple weeks ago. So I feel like I'm finally catching up here.
Very good. Yeah, Dean Jones's name comes up a lot. I hear stories of people who get into his studio, and he's got all sorts of toys and stuff like that in there. So hopefully you'll get a chance to get there and experience that in person.
Yeah, I hope to. Yeah, we've already started working on some other stuff, so I'm hoping this coming summer I'll be able to make the trip out and see it in person. But yeah, he brought a lot of great sounds and energy and ideas to the music, so it was really fun to kind of hear these little tunes come to life, through the ether.
There you go. All right, let's get into some of these tunes. Let's start off with the song called Be Brave. Talk about that song and what inspired it.
Yeah, so this is I love this song. It was a song that I wrote actually with a group of third graders in Washington Montessori. I have a songwriting program called Music Maker that I do in the St. Louis Public Schools, and I've been doing that for a number of years. But this class wrote this song together called "Be Brave," and I was just thinking of songs to include on the album, and I thought this would be a great one. Not only because it has a really great message that I feel like is really true to the times that we're living through. There's a lot of challenging world things that we're dealing with as parents and as kids, and it has just this great message. But also it's also just representative of some of the work that I do with kids. So I wanted to include a kids song in the mix. So that's
Very
Be
good.
Brave.
All right, let's check this one out. Here it is, Be Brave by Marko Polo.
You've got to be brave. You can stand up for yourself. You can learn how to engage. Courage is good for your health. Courage gives you the power to do anything. You've got to have courage in your heart. You can stand up on a stage and sing. Love is a very good start. C-O-U-R-A-G-E. 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 Courage is all about love. Doesn't matter what anybody says. Be brave and rise above. Have courage through your days. C-O-U-R-A-G-E. C-O-U-R-A-G-E. You've got to be brave. 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 You can stand up for yourself. You can learn how to engage. Courage is good for your health. Courage gives you the power to do anything. You've got to have courage in your heart. You could stand up on a stage and sing. Love is a very good start. You've got to be brave. You can stand up for yourself. You've got to be brave. You can stand up for yourself. You've got to be brave.
And that was Be Brave. The next song is called Salamander Moves. Tell us about this one.
Yeah, so Salamander Moves. Well, I knew I wanted to have a movement song and a number song on the album, kind of just classic kids themes, to good for engaging young people. And I have a band called Fire Dog. We put out a kids album a number of years ago called For the Kids. There was a song on there called Hellbender, which is an informational song about the largest salamander in North America that's native to Missouri. It's called the Hellbender Salamander. And so I thought I'd do something kind of a nod to that song, which has been one of Fire Dog's really biggest hit songs. And actually just a couple weeks ago, the Missouri Department of Conservation announced that they have released the 10,000th Hellbender back into the wild. They had set up a breeding center where they were breeding these salamanders in captivity, and they've had a lot of success. And since they started that program, they've released the 10,000th back into the wild, and so they're starting to have some real hope that the Hellbender is making a comeback. And so Salamander Moves is kind of, I thought I got to have a salamander song. That's kind of my thing. So that's where this song came from, and it's got a lot of fun movements that are good for engaging kids, and especially in live shows and that kind of thing.
All right. Well, making a note to self here to go look up images of Hellbender salamanders, because that is a cool name for a salamander.
Yeah, Hellbender. It's not the most photogenic salamander, but luckily I have Fire Dog's got a new one coming out. There's a song that came out of one of my songwriting sessions this summer with a group of fourth graders called Axolotl, another salamander song on the way, and that is a very photogenic salamander. So look them both up, Google them, Hellbender, Axolotl. And this one, though, is just kind of the general salamander song with movements, and it's all in good fun. So
excellent. All right, we're going to play it. Here it is, Salamander Moves by Marko Polo.
There were 5 little salamanders swimming in the creek. One crawled onto the beach where it could sneak, sneak, sneak. It found a little patch of moss and wiggled all around, making friends with all the worms living underground. There were 4 little salamanders swimming in the creek. One crawled onto the beach where it could sneak, sneak, sneak. It found a little patch of moss and clapped its hands, pretending it was singing in a rock and roll band. There were 3 little salamanders swimming in the creek. One crawled onto the beach where it could sneak, sneak, sneak. It found a little patch of moss and jumped over it, listening to the froggies ribbiting their ribbits. Ribbit, ribbit. When you're a salamander, you can live both on the land and in the water, amphibian. Salamanders swimming in the creek. One crawled onto the beach where it could sneak, sneak, sneak. It found a little patch of moss and stomped its feet like a drummer keeping time with the funky beat. One little salamander swimming in the creek. It crawled onto the beach where it could sneak, sneak, sneak. It found a little patch of moss and took a little nap, dreaming it was snuggling in its mother's lap.
And that was Salamander Moves. All right, up next is Moon Song. Talk about Moon Song.
Yeah, Moon Song. So I've always been, really inspired by the lunar cycles and kind of the glowing orb in our sky. And over the last several years with little ones in the house, we got accustomed to playing Pachelbel's Canon in D as kind of our lullaby song going to bed. And play that in their room, and so I'd hear that on repeat. And I kind of borrowed some of that form for this song, but I wanted to kind of have that album closer. That's kind of the lullaby song or kind of a dreamscape, and I really loved the way the production turned out on this. Dean really added some beautiful keyboard layers, and there's some violin in there, and it has this really dreamy quality that it's really sweet. And it was one of the songs that was just, it was really wonderful to hear it kind of come to life, and it has that dreamy moon quality that I love. So I hope other people will like it too.
I am sure they will. All right, we're going to listen to it now. Here it is, Moon Song by Marko Polo.
The moon gets bigger every day until the moon gets smaller, then it goes away. Then the moon is new, it's true. Sometimes the moon is blue. Moon, it waxes and it wanes. Moon, it waxes and it wanes. And the light that shines is just a reflection with imagination. You can see a face in the moon. The moon gets bigger every day until the moon gets smaller, then it goes away. Then the moon is new, it's new once again. It waxes and it wanes. Moon, it waxes and it wanes. Moon, it waxes and it wanes. And it pulls the tides in and they're out. Water's moving about, and the light that shines is just a reflection of the sun. The moon gets bigger every day until the moon gets smaller, then it goes away. Then the moon is new, it's new once again. You can't escape the moon. Would you go if you could go to the moon?
that was Moon Song. All right, last song we're going to talk about tonight is called Lion's Tale. Tell us about this one.
Yeah, so Lion's Tale was written in I think it was January of 2021, and my kids love stories, so I knew I wanted to include some kind of story song, and I was just kind of reflecting on the stories we tell our children and the lessons we want young people to learn, and this idea of truth telling became really seemed pertinent to kind of the things my kids were going through and the things that we were kind of experiencing in the world. And so I had this idea of a lion who was lying all the time, the lying lion. And, so this song tells the story of this lion that just keeps telling lies and kind of wreaking havoc in the jungle. And essentially, he ends up being banished and to the savannah. And there's a little bit of the song that borrows from an Italian folk protest song called Bella Ciao, which means goodbye, beautiful. So there's kind of a little bit of a folk quality to it. And, I'm Italian by descent, so I thought it was kind of a little bit of a nod to some of my family's heritage as well.
All right. Well, let's play it. Here it is, Lion's Tale by Marko Polo.
There was a lion who was a lion. In the jungle where he was king, he lied. He turned to Monkey and said, "Isn't it funky? Toucan cannot fly." Lion knew it wasn't true. He'd seen Toucan flying through the trees so many times. He liked to make up stories, riddled with false narratives. Indeed, it's sad but true, Lion lied. It's sad to say it, but it is true. It's sad but true, Lion lied. It's sad to say it, but it is true. It's sad but true, Lion lied. Monkey shouted, screamed it, howled it, swinging from the trees, singing, "Toucan cannot fly," until the funky monkey met a chunky hippopotamus who'd just seen Toucan soaring through the sky. He said, "My dear friend monkey, where did you hear this story? You must know it is hurtful to spread lies. To live in a society, there are standards of morality by which every member should abide." Monkey said, King Lion said so. It's sad but true, Lion lied. It's sad to say it, but it is true. It's sad but true, Lion lied. Well, our friend Toucan heard the story. It had circulated through the jungle far and wide. Toucan cried, "It's just not true." No one believed Toucan. They dove into the river to die. But Toucan didn't really die. Toucan only cried and cried as the animals all watched the river rise. Then the chunky hippopotamus said, "Enough is enough. It's time for us to organize." Through a fact-finding mission, it was determined Lion was a danger to society. He caused confusion with grand illusions, and his kingship was deemed an atrocity. Yes, Lion bullied. He was cruel. He said all the birds are fools, but the jungle animals all grew tired of his show. They decided it was time for him to go. They said, "We don't want a kingdom, we want a true democracy." All agreed, Lion must go. Bella ciao. Now Lion cried, 'cause Lion lied. But nobody could trust that he would ever change. Yes, the king had to leave the jungle. That's why lions live in the savannah. To this day, Bella Ciao, Bella Ciao, Bella Ciao, Bella Ciao, Bella Ciao, Bella Ciao, Ciao, Ciao. Bella Ciao.
All right, that was Lion's Tale, and that wraps up our song feature here. So, Mark, let everybody know, where can they buy, stream, download that album, and how can they find and connect with you on social media and go to your website?
Yeah, so you can stream it on all the main streaming apps, and you can buy it online at bandcamp.com. And if you want to find any of those, you can go to markopolomusic.com. Marko with the K. markopolomusic.com. That's the main headquarters. So
Wonderful. Well, Marko Polo, thank you so much for coming back on the show. It's been great talking to you again, and I look forward to hearing more from you.
thank you for doing this. I really appreciate it.
All right, talk soon.